something that I committed to, and something I committed all of my elders and sisters to when I was an MTC teacher, was to work on every transport. So in Donetsk, we didn't have bikes, we didn't have cars, we just walked and took trains and buses and everything. And there's so much time that you have when you're going from place to place. And so work on those transports. Talk to the people next to you, work on your language skills, read the Book of Mormon in Russian, study vocab, ask other people how to pronounce vocab to start conversations. In the beginning of my mission, I would carry around a little, like a whiteboard that I cut up that fit in my pocket, and I would take it out, and I like could not understand anybody, but I would just like start talking to them and being like, oh, like, how do you say this? Like, like I just point at stuff, and I'd give them the marker, and they just like write it out. I'd be like, and they would help me pronounce it. Then I'd be like, oh, well, they'd be like, oh, what are you doing here? I was like, oh, well, and then I just went into my routine of like, я представитель церкви Иисуса Христа святых последних дней, и у меня message, that's not even Russian. У меня сообщение о Боге и о том, как Он восстановил Его церковь. We have a message about how God restored His church, and I remember the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, and then I would just look at my companion and have my companion come over. But one particular time, it was pretty funny. So I was walking. No, we were on like a bus, and so it was like a little van bus. And I'd been in Ukraine maybe like a week, still couldn't hardly understand a single thing that people were saying. And on the bus, it was like really, really packed, right? This like little teeny bus van. And so my companion had to get out to let other people out. And when he got off, he got on and back into the front seat. Well, all I saw him getting off, so I got off. And then he gets into the front seat, door closes, off it goes, the crowd parts, and there's no companion. And so I'm sitting there in the middle of this city. We'd been on the transport for probably like 20 minutes, so I had no idea where we were, no idea where we came from, no idea what our address was. I'd only been there less than a week. My companion was gone, and he didn't realize I was gone until because he was in the front seat. So when he went to go get off, he looked back and saw that I wasn't there. And so anyway, so I'm just kind of like sitting there like, all right, here I am in Ukraine. I don't know the language. Like, what do I do? And I looked down in my pocket, and I had these pass-along cards. I was like, well, might as well be a missionary. So I start handing out pass-along cards and start like inviting people to come to church. And so I'm at my very last pass-along card, and literally all I have is a Russian Book of Mormon and this pass-along card. And I go and I give it to somebody, and he goes, "Gdzie церковь?" And I was like, what? He's like, "Gdzie zdania?" And I was like, "No comprendo, amigo," And he goes, and then all of a sudden I'm going back into my church, I'm going back in my vocab, and I'm thinking like, the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, церковь. Церковь is church. He's asking where the church is. Церковь. Церковь. You want to know where the церковь is? He's like, oh, yeah. So I'm like, oh. So I flip it around, and I remember when we had like stamped it with the address. I was like, here's the church, and I was like, then he's like, oh, okay. And then he starts to take it. Then I'm like, wait a second. And I grab it back from him, and I'm like, I know where this address is, and like, I know how to get home from this address. I was like, where is this church? Where is this address? And so he points me in the direction of the church, and I like take the pamphlet back, and I was like, you come here on Sunday, but I need this pamphlet. So I go running off, get onto a bus, start walking back, and as I start driving back, and as I'm driving back, I see my apartment, and so I get off. Like the whole bus is like yelling at me not to get off, because they only know I'm trying to get to the church, and they're all trying to help me to get there. And so I'm like, no, that's my home. They're like, oh, okay. So they finally let me off the bus. And when I get there, I open the door, and well, first of all, as I'm walking there, I realize that like I don't have a key, and I'm like, now I'm stuck. I'm stuck with no key. I don't know where my companion is, when he's coming back, but I walk in, and it turns out the door is unlocked, and there is fresh cherry cobbler that one of the members had just made in our oven, and she'd just taken it out of the oven as I walked in the house. And Mama, oh my gosh, her name was Mama Moros, and she took out this cherry cobbler and she gave it to me, and I just gave her a hug, just like started crying because it was just like I didn't know what to do. But my companion came in, I gave him a big hug, and he was so mad at me. He was so mad. But I never got separated from him again. But it was just like a really interesting experience where it's like, if you're a missionary, just be a missionary. If you don't know what else to do, just invite people to come to church and to learn more about the gospel. And so it was just like a really, really fun experience for me to like kick off the adventure of a mission. And man, was that mission certainly an adventure.